Alright, now it's time for the oil pan gasket on this 3.0 liter 12 valve Vulcan engine on a Ford Taurus. And the first thing you gotta do obviously is drain the engine oil. Then we're gonna pull the starter out of here. There's a bolt here, 13 mil, and that's one right there. Once your starter's out of the way, just flop it to the side like that. Leave all your connections on. And it'll kind of hook behind the subframe here, and it'll be safe to keep it out of your way. Next thing, over here, that 8mm bolt right there, pull that out, and then this whole shield spacer will come out. Now as far as the exhaust goes, you can see these nuts right here. They're usually just like this. They're a shell of what they used to be. I mean, there's nothing left to them. If you try to touch these, you're going to end up torching out the stud, so I wouldn't touch these. You can see that one too. What I do is I loosen it from the exhaust manifolds up top. Now my exhaust manifolds are missing because I'm pulling heads on this particular car, but same idea. There's two 15mm nuts right there that bolted up to the manifold, and you just undo them from the top and it'll drop down. At this point we got two bolts that hold the exhaust manifold to the cat converter right here, and down there your 13mm. Now that bottom bolt's going to be a little bit of a pain to get out because it's actually holding up the cat converter. So you have to lift up on the cat converter and then pull it out, and it'll drop a little bit because the front's already disconnected. Then go around and get all these oil pan bolts. They're 8mm and they're all the way around. Just follow them. And then leave this one in till the very last. This one in the center below the oil filter. And then we'll loosen that by hand and drop this puppy out of here. Alright, just make sure you support it, the pan itself, and then have an oil drip pan underneath so it will be dripping once the pan's out of the way. That last bolt out, separated. You should be able to angle and have plenty of room. Still stuck in the front here a little bit. Sealant and clips on here. Unclip it from the front. There we go. You should be able to wiggle it out of there and pass the oil pickup, no problem. Get your old gasket down. This one's just a real mess. We got our bolts cleaned up the best we can, and then I put the new gasket on here. Clean the pan inside and out. And it just clips on all around the pan. And then we've been drip drying, basically, for a while now, so we don't get no oil on our new pan gasket or our sealant. I blew out the bolt holes on here, so there's no crud in them, and then we're not torquing down properly. And then of course I cleaned the surface, and we're gonna need to put engine sealant. Where's it? Right there. And the same thing on this side, same place, and then where's it at? Right there, where the front cover meets the block, you need to put a bead of it right there too, both sides. Right there. And then we can put our pan up. Alright, we got our engine sealant in there, in those 4 spots. We'll try to get this up in here without disturbing anything. Just get a couple bolts in there and we can start checking it, make sure everything's aligned still. And once they're all snugged up evenly, crisscross them to snug them up, and then we're going to torque them down to 108 inch-pounds, and there is a sequence. Alright, we're going to finish this oil pan job. I got the 8mm bolt on the other side. I use these to hold the spacer while I put that 8mm in. And now we can plop our starter in and bolt her up. Just make sure you tighten, bolt these bolts by hand at first, so we ain't got no cross threading. And this side alignment nub is in its place, and then we can tighten it down. And if you pull in connections, of course, reconnect those. And we just need to tighten these bolts down. Hand tight on these is just fine. And then once the starter's in place and lined up, we can tighten this bolt down. It's a little tricky to get to. Let's get the exhaust lined up and bolted up, the cat converters, Y pipe, to the exhaust manifolds, so that we have full access to them instead of fighting them later. So what I do is I get this rear one lined up. Let's see here, focus. I pick up on the Y pipe from down below, and then I put the bolt through. Once this eyelet right here goes into this slot, I can get a bolt through, and that'll support it. And then I go up here to the front, and I put the nuts in. I pass these studs through the manifold, and just put the nuts on loose. And then I should be able to come back here, and the angle should be right, that this hole in the cat converter lines up with the manifold here. And I thread this in by hand. Those bolts should still be loose. And then I come up here and I tighten these two nuts for the front one evenly, and that'll finish the alignment. And then you can come back here and these will just cinch and be done.